While everyone's chasing manifestation techniques and morning routines, they're ignoring the one thing they do 23,000 times a day that's either creating their dream life or destroying it. The ancient Egyptians knew this secret, and in 5 minutes, so will you. That one thing is your breath, not just as air entering your lungs, but as the most powerful reality programming technology ever discovered. Your respiratory system was designed not just for survival, but as a direct interface with the quantum field of infinite possibilities. Today, I'm going to reveal not only the exact 5-phase observer breath sequence that ancient mystery schools guarded as their deepest secret, but also how you can activate quantum field receptivity within the first 60 seconds of your morning routine, creating manifestation momentum that lasts all day. The difference between mechanical breathing and observer breathing determines whether you remain trapped in limitation or access infinite creative potential. I want you to pause for a moment and think about how you've been breathing as you listen to these words. If you're like most people, you probably haven't given it a single thought. Your breath has been happening automatically in the background while your mind processes these ideas, and that's perfectly natural. We've all been conditioned to treat breathing as something our body just does, like our heart beating or our cells regenerating. But what if I told you that this unconscious approach to something you do every few seconds is actually keeping you stuck in patterns you desperately want to change? You see, there are really two completely different ways we can breathe, and the difference between them is like the difference between being a passenger on a bus versus being the driver of your own car. Mechanical breathing is what happens when we're on autopilot. It's shallow, quick, and centered high in the chest. When we breathe this way, we're essentially telling our nervous system that we're in survival mode, that we need to be ready for whatever threat might be coming next. This kind of breathing keeps us locked in what I call the ego trap, where our thoughts race from one worry to the next, where we react to life instead of responding to it, where we feel like we're constantly swimming upstream against forces beyond our control. But there's another way, a way that ancient wisdom keepers understood deeply, but that we've somehow forgotten in our modern rush through life. Observer breathing is completely different. It's deep, intentional, and comes from a place of centered awareness. When you breathe this way, you're not just moving air through your lungs, you're actually activating what quantum physicists call the observer effect within your own consciousness. You're shifting from being someone who things happen to being someone who participates consciously in the unfolding of their reality. Think of it this way. Every intentional breath you take is like tuning a radio to a clearer station. When you breathe mechanically, you're picking up static random signals, whatever happens to be broadcasting in your vicinity. But when you breathe as the observer, you're actively tuning into the frequency of infinite creative intelligence. You're creating a bridge between your everyday human awareness and the vast field of possibility that surrounds you always. This isn't just a beautiful metaphor, it's the fundamental gateway to observer consciousness. Each time you bring awareness to your breath, each time you choose to breathe with intention rather than habit, you're stepping out of the limited identity that thinks it knows how life should unfold and into the expansive awareness that can actually influence how life does unfold. You're moving from being trapped in your thoughts to being the one who watches those thoughts arise and pass away. Right now, take one conscious breath and notice, are you breathing from your chest or your belly? If it's your chest, you've just discovered why you feel stuck. Place one hand on your chest, one on your belly, and take 3 deep breaths where only the bottom hand moves. You'll feel the shift immediately. This is your first taste of observer consciousness activation. Notice how even this simple change makes you feel more centered, more present, more like the real you. This isn't coincidence. This is the beginning of remembering who you really are beneath all the mental chatter and emotional reactivity. As you breathe into your belly, you're literally breathing into a different state of being. One where you have access to wisdom, clarity, and creative power that your chest-breathing self couldn't even imagine. Take a moment to appreciate this shift, because what you're experiencing right now is the foundational skill that will transform everything else we explore together. But understanding the gateway is just the beginning. Your entire respiratory system has a sacred design. Your respiratory system isn't just keeping you alive. It's a manifestation technology that ancient mystery schools used for reality manipulation. What I'm about to share with you might completely change how you think about the simple act of breathing. For most of your life, you've probably understood your lungs, diaphragm, and respiratory system as biological machinery designed for one purpose: keeping oxygen flowing through your body so you can stay alive. And while that's certainly true, it's only the surface layer of a much deeper truth that ancient civilizations understood intimately. The mystery schools of Egypt, the yogic traditions of India, the Taoist masters of China, they all recognized something that our modern world has largely forgotten. They saw the respiratory system not just as a survival mechanism, but as the most sophisticated manifestation technology ever created. Think of it this way: if your body is a temple, then your breath is the sacred ritual that activates the divine power within that temple. When you inhale consciously, you're not just drawing in oxygen. You're literally drawing in pure potential, infinite possibilities, the very substance from which all realities are born. Ancient wisdom keepers called this life force by many names: prana in Sanskrit, chi in Chinese, ruach in Hebrew. But they all pointed to the same profound truth: your breath carries the creative essence of the universe itself. And when you exhale with awareness, something equally remarkable happens. You're not just releasing carbon dioxide, you're releasing everything that no longer serves your highest good. Old thought patterns that keep you stuck, emotional residue from past experiences, energetic imprints of limitation and fear. All of this can be consciously released with each mindful exhale. It's like your breath becomes a gentle but powerful cleaning system for your entire being. The ancient Egyptians understood that conscious breathing creates what they called standing waves in the quantum field around you. Imagine dropping a stone into a perfectly still lake and watching the ripples spread outward in perfect circles. Your conscious breath creates similar waves in the invisible field of energy that surrounds and interpenetrates everything. These waves don't just ripple through empty space, they actually reorganize the quantum possibilities around you, making it more likely that experiences aligned with your highest good will manifest in your life. This isn't mystical fantasy, it's how the universe actually works. Quantum physics tells us that everything exists in a state of potential until something observes it into reality. Your conscious breathing is one of the most powerful ways to become that observer, to participate actively in the collapse of infinite possibilities into your desired outcomes. When you breathe mechanically without awareness, you're essentially running your manifestation technology on autopilot. It still works, but it's responding to whatever unconscious programming happens to be running in your system, your fears, your old conditioning, your inherited beliefs about what's possible. But when you breathe consciously with intention and awareness, you take control of this incredible technology. You become the programmer instead of the program. Here's a 30-second technique you can use anywhere. On your inhale, silently say, "I receive infinite possibilities." On your exhale, say, "I release what no longer serves." Do this 3 times right now and notice how your energy shifts. Feel how your whole system seems to recalibrate as you breathe in potential and breathe out limitation. Notice any sense of lightness, clarity, or expanded awareness that emerges. You've just experienced your first conscious download/release cycle, the foundation of manifestation breathing. This simple practice is actually ancient technology, a way of consciously participating in the continuous creation of your reality. Each inhale becomes a moment of saying yes to the infinite field of possibilities, and each exhale becomes a moment of letting go of whatever keeps you from accessing those possibilities. What you're feeling right now is your sacred breath architecture coming online, your respiratory system remembering its true purpose as a bridge between the seen and unseen worlds. Now that you understand your breath architecture, let me reveal the perfect timing window. There's a specific morning window when conscious breathing amplifies observer consciousness by 300 to 500%. Have you ever noticed how the very first moments after you wake up feel different from the rest of your day? There's a softness to your awareness, a kind of openness that seems to fade as soon as you check your phone or start thinking about your to-do list. What you're sensing in those precious moments is actually a profound neurological phenomenon that ancient wisdom keepers understood intuitively, and that modern neuroscience is now beginning to validate. When you first emerge from sleep, your brain is naturally cycling through what researchers call theta waves, the same brainwave state that experienced meditators spend years learning to access. In this state, the usual barriers between your conscious and subconscious mind become much more permeable. It's as if the bouncer at the nightclub of your deeper consciousness has stepped away for a few minutes, and suddenly, there's free access between the different levels of your awareness. This is why so many breakthrough insights, creative solutions, and moments of clarity happen in that drowsy space between sleeping and fully waking. Your rational mind, with all its learned limitations and inherited beliefs about what's possible, hasn't yet fully come online. Instead, you're operating from a more expanded state of awareness, one that's naturally more receptive to new possibilities and more connected to the deeper currents of wisdom that flow beneath the surface of everyday thinking. What makes this morning window even more remarkable is how it coincides with your body's natural circadian rhythms. Your nervous system is designed to be most receptive to new programming during these early morning hours. Think of it like a computer that's just been restarted. All the old programs that were running in the background have been cleared out, and there's fresh processing power available for whatever you choose to focus on first. When you combine this natural neurological receptivity with conscious breathing, something extraordinary happens. The theta brainwaves that are already present become even more pronounced, creating what you might think of as a direct dial connection to the deeper intelligence that orchestrates synchronicities, attracts opportunities, and organizes experiences around your conscious intentions. During this window, your nervous system becomes like a highly sensitive antenna, capable of picking up on subtle frequencies and possibilities that would normally be drowned out by the noise of daily mental activity. This is when your conscious intentions can most easily download into what we might call your manifestation operating system, the deeper layers of consciousness that influence how reality organizes itself around you. The ancient Egyptian priests understood this principle deeply. They would wake before dawn not just for spiritual reasons, but because they recognized that these early hours offered the clearest access to what they called the divine intelligence that flows through all things. They knew that thoughts, intentions, and breath practices during this time had a different quality of power, a more direct line to the creative forces that shape experience. This isn't about forcing anything or trying to control outcomes through willpower. Instead, it's about learning to work with the natural rhythms of your consciousness, using these moments of heightened receptivity to plant seeds of intention that can then grow and manifest throughout your day in ways that often feel effortless and magical. Tomorrow morning, before checking your phone or getting out of bed, spend just 60 seconds breathing consciously while setting an intention for your day. Don't worry about doing it perfectly. Just breathe with awareness and hold a gentle sense of what you'd like to experience. Notice what synchronicities, opportunities, or coincidences show up within the first 2 hours. This is your proof that the quantum window is real, and you'll have evidence by tomorrow afternoon. Pay attention to unexpected phone calls, chance encounters, solutions that suddenly become obvious, or opportunities that seem to appear from nowhere. Notice how your energy feels different when you start your day this way, how much more flowing and effortless things become. This isn't confirmation bias or wishful thinking. It's your first direct experience of working with your consciousness during its most receptive state. Many people are amazed by how quickly and clearly this window reveals itself once they begin paying attention to it. But there's something even more profound waiting in the sacred pause between breaths. Each conscious breath during this window deepens your identification with the eternal witness, rather than temporary thoughts. Now we come to what might be the most transformative aspect of this entire practice, and it happens so naturally that you might not even notice it at first. As you continue breathing consciously during those precious morning moments, something begins to shift in the very foundation of how you experience yourself and your relationship to your desires. Most of the time, we live completely identified with our thinking mind. We believe we are our thoughts, our worries, our plays, our reactions to whatever life presents. When we want something, we often feel separate from it, like we're over here and our desired experience is over there, and somehow we need to figure out how to bridge that gap. This sense of separation creates a kind of energetic tension that can actually work against the very outcomes we're hoping to create. But as you breathe consciously, especially during that morning window when your awareness is naturally more fluid and open, something beautiful begins to happen. You start to recognize that there's a part of you that exists beyond all the mental chatter, beyond all the wanting and worrying and planning. This is what spiritual traditions have long called the witness consciousness, the part of you that can observe your thoughts without being caught up in them, the part that remains calm and centered regardless of what's happening in your external circumstances. Think of it like this. Imagine you're sitting by a river, watching the water flow past. Sometimes the current is gentle and peaceful, sometimes it's rushing and turbulent, but you, sitting on the riverbank, remain stable and observant throughout all the changes in the water's movement. Your thoughts and emotions are like that flowing river, constantly changing and moving. But your deeper awareness, your witness consciousness, is like your position on the riverbank, steady and unchanging. As you breathe into this witness awareness, something remarkable happens to your relationship with your desires and intentions. Instead of feeling like you're separate from what you want to create or experience, you begin to sense that your desires are actually expressions of a deeper intelligence that flows through you. Rather than grasping for outcomes, you find yourself naturally aligning with the frequency of what you wish to experience. This is where the cascade effect really begins to unfold. Each conscious breath deepens your identification with this witness perspective, and from this place, your desires stop feeling like desperate wants and start feeling like natural expressions of who you're becoming. It's as if your breath is literally carrying the vibrational signature of your fulfilled intentions into every cell of your body, creating an internal environment that naturally magnetizes experiences aligned with your highest good. You might notice this as a sense of inner knowing that what you desire is already on its way to you, or as a feeling of peaceful anticipation rather than anxious striving. Some people describe it as feeling like they're breathing their future self into existence, cell by cell, breath by breath. The beautiful thing about this process is that it doesn't require you to believe anything in particular or to understand exactly how it works. It's simply a natural result of breathing with awareness while resting in witness consciousness. Here's your instant observer consciousness trigger. While breathing consciously, silently repeat, "I am the one watching my breath." Feel how this immediately separates you from your thoughts and connects you to the eternal witness within. Notice how this simple phrase creates a gentle but distinct shift in your sense of identity, from being someone who has thoughts to being the awareness that observes thoughts arising and passing away. Use this phrase anytime you feel overwhelmed or caught up in mental loops. It's your emergency reset button to observer consciousness. Practice it now and notice how even in the middle of listening to this, you can access that stable witness perspective that exists beyond all the mental activity. This isn't something you need to create or achieve, it's something you already are, simply waiting to be remembered and accessed through conscious breathing. And when this witness consciousness stabilizes, it begins broadcasting a frequency that changes everything around you. Conscious breathing generates coherent electromagnetic fields that extend 8+ feet and influence matter at quantum levels. Here's something that might sound almost too remarkable to believe, but that you can actually test for yourself in your daily life. When you breathe consciously from that centered witness state we've been exploring, you don't just change your internal experience, you begin to influence the energy and atmosphere around you in ways that others can genuinely sense and respond to. You've probably had the experience of walking into a room and immediately feeling whether the energy there was tense or peaceful, whether people were stressed or relaxed without anyone saying a word. What you were picking up on wasn't imagination. It was the very real phenomenon of how our internal states create subtle but measurable effects in our immediate environment. Research from institutions like the HeartMath Institute has shown that our hearts generate electromagnetic fields that extend well beyond our physical bodies. And these fields change dramatically based on our emotional and breathing states. When we're stressed, anxious, or breathing shallowly, our heart rhythms become chaotic and irregular, and this creates what you might think of as energetic static in the space around us. But when we breathe consciously and rest in that centered awareness we've been cultivating, our heart rhythms become coherent and steady, creating a much more harmonious field. Now, I want to be clear that we're not talking about anything mystical or supernatural here. We're talking about the very real ways that our presence, the quality of attention and awareness we bring to each moment, affects not just how we feel but how others experience being around us. When you're breathing consciously and resting in witness awareness, you naturally become more present, more centered, more genuinely yourself, and people respond to authentic presence in remarkable ways. Think about the people in your life who have this quality of calm presence. When you're around them, don't you feel more relaxed yourself? Don't you find it easier to think clearly, to feel at ease, to access your own wisdom and creativity? This isn't coincidence. It's the natural result of being in proximity to someone who is genuinely centered and present. When you begin your day with conscious breathing in that morning window, you're essentially calibrating your own presence in a way that creates this same effect. You're not trying to manipulate anyone or force any particular outcomes. You're simply showing up as the most authentic, centered version of yourself, and this naturally tends to bring out the best in the people and situations you encounter. You might notice that conversations flow more easily, that people seem more willing to share opportunities or offer help, that solutions to problems become more obvious, or that you find yourself in the right place at the right time more often. These aren't magical occurrences, they're the natural result of being genuinely present and centered, which makes you more aware of opportunities that were always there and more attractive to others who are drawn to authentic presence. Next time you're in a crowded place, elevator, meeting, coffee shop, spend 2 minutes breathing consciously and notice how people's energy shifts around you. You might see them relax, smile more, or even approach you. This is your electromagnetic field in action. You're not imagining it, you're influencing reality through your breath field. Pay attention to subtle changes. Does the overall atmosphere feel more peaceful? Do people seem more open and friendly? Do interactions become more flowing and natural? Notice how your own confidence and ease affects the entire dynamic of the space. What you're experiencing isn't supernatural. It's the very natural way that genuine presence creates positive change in any environment. Many people are surprised by how consistently this happens once they begin paying attention to it. What happens next defies everything you thought you knew about how fast transformation can occur. Daily observer breath practice creates compound momentum, eventually allowing you to manifest desires within single breath cycles. What happens when you begin practicing this morning breathing routine consistently over time is something that many people find both surprising and deeply encouraging. Like any skill that you develop with gentle, regular practice, your ability to access that centered witness awareness becomes stronger and more automatic. But more than that, the positive changes that flow from this practice begin to compound in ways that can feel almost miraculous. In the beginning, you might notice small shifts. Perhaps you feel a bit calmer during stressful conversations, or you find yourself pausing to breathe consciously when you would normally react automatically. These might seem like minor changes, but they're actually the beginning of a profound transformation in how you move through the world. As you continue with your morning practice, something interesting starts to happen with your overall awareness throughout the day. You begin to notice opportunities, connections, and possibilities that were always there, but that your reactive, stressed mind was too busy to perceive. It's like the difference between driving frantically through a city focused only on avoiding traffic, versus taking a leisurely walk through the same neighborhood and noticing all the beautiful details, interesting shops, and friendly faces that were invisible from behind the windshield. This heightened awareness naturally leads to better choices, more authentic connections, and a greater sense of flow in your daily experience. You might find yourself in conversations that lead to unexpected opportunities, or discover solutions to problems that suddenly seem obvious, or feel drawn to take actions that turn out to be perfectly timed. From the outside, these might look like remarkable coincidences, but from the inside, they feel like the natural result of being more present and aware. Over weeks and months of consistent practice, many people report that their lives begin to feel increasingly aligned with their deepest values and desires. This isn't because they're controlling outcomes through their breathing, but because they're becoming more skilled at recognizing and acting on the opportunities that support their genuine well-being and growth. The acceleration that people experience isn't really about manifesting specific outcomes faster. It's about developing the clarity and presence to recognize when you're moving in alignment with your authentic path, and the confidence to take action when those moments of clarity arise. It's about becoming someone who naturally attracts positive experiences because you're genuinely centered, present, and open to possibility. There's also something powerful about the simple act of beginning each day with conscious intention. When you consistently start your morning by breathing consciously and setting a gentle intention for your day, you're training your mind to look for evidence that your intentions are being supported. This isn't wishful thinking, it's a well-documented psychological phenomenon. What you focus on with genuine attention tends to become more visible in your experience. Start a simple daily log. Each morning after your 5-minute breath practice, write down one thing you're calling in. Each evening, note any related synchronicities, opportunities, or progress that appeared. By day 7, you'll have tangible proof of your manifestation acceleration and a personal success pattern you can replicate and amplify. Don't worry about dramatic external changes. Focus on internal shifts like increased clarity, moments of insight, better decision-making, or feeling more naturally drawn to beneficial choices and situations. Notice patterns in your energy levels, the quality of your interactions, and your overall sense of flow and ease. Many people are surprised to discover how much positive momentum they can create simply by starting each day with conscious intention and maintaining awareness of how that intention ripples through their experience. The real magic isn't in the breathing technique itself. It's in how this simple practice gradually transforms you into someone who naturally recognizes and responds to the opportunities for growth, connection, and positive change that are always available in each moment. Now let me show you exactly how to implement this. The 5-phase observer breath sequence I've shared today transforms you from someone unconsciously breathing through life into someone who consciously breathes life into existence. You now have the same secret the ancient Egyptians used to access infinite creative power, and it takes just 5 minutes each morning. Let's take a moment to appreciate the journey we've traveled together, because what you've learned isn't just information. It's a complete roadmap for transforming your relationship with your own consciousness and, through that transformation, your entire experience of being alive. We began by recognizing the profound difference between mechanical breathing and observer breathing, discovering how something as simple as shifting your breath from chest to belly can immediately connect you to that centered, aware part of yourself that exists beyond all the mental chatter and reactive patterns. You learned that each conscious breath creates a bridge between your everyday awareness and a deeper intelligence that's always available to guide and support you. Then we explored how your respiratory system is actually designed as sophisticated technology for conscious creation. Understanding how every inhale draws in pure potential, while every exhale releases what no longer serves your highest good. You discovered that ancient wisdom keepers weren't speaking metaphorically when they taught that breath creates standing waves in the field of possibility around you. They were sharing practical knowledge about how consciousness and reality actually interact. We uncovered the remarkable power of that morning window, when your brain naturally synchronizes with deeper rhythms of awareness. Learning how those first few minutes after waking offer amplified access to the creative intelligence that orchestrates synchronicities and attracts opportunities. You experienced how conscious breathing during this time doesn't force outcomes, but rather aligns you with the natural flow of positive possibilities. Through understanding the observer breath cascade, you connected with that eternal witness within you, the part that can watch thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. You learned how breathing from this witness perspective naturally dissolves the sense of separation between you and your desired experiences, creating vibrational alignment at the cellular level. We explored how your conscious presence extends beyond your physical body, influencing the energy and atmosphere around you in ways that others can genuinely sense and respond to. You discovered that showing up as your most centered, authentic self naturally tends to bring out the best in people and situations. Finally, you learned about the compound momentum that builds through consistent practice, understanding how daily observer breathing gradually transforms you into someone who naturally recognizes and responds to opportunities for growth, connection, and positive change. This isn't about controlling life through breathing techniques. It's about developing the presence and awareness to participate more consciously in the continuous creation of your experience. While others continue chasing complex manifestation techniques, you now know the one thing that creates or destroys your reality 23,000 times a day. Think about that for a moment. While people spend hundreds of dollars on courses and workshops, while they search for the perfect meditation app or the most powerful affirmation, you've discovered that the most profound tool for transformation has been with you every moment of your life. Every breath you've ever taken was an opportunity to connect with your deeper wisdom, to align with possibility, to participate consciously in shaping your experience. The difference is that now you know how to use this tool intentionally. Your breath is liquid consciousness, and through conscious breathing, you activate your birthright as a reality creator. This isn't just beautiful language. It's a practical truth about how your awareness and your breath work together to influence your experience of life. When you breathe consciously, you're not just oxygenating your blood, you're literally feeding consciousness into every cell of your body. You're reminding your entire system of its capacity for presence, awareness, and authentic response to whatever life presents. Every time you choose conscious breathing over automatic breathing, you're choosing to participate actively in your life rather than just react to whatever happens. You're choosing presence over distraction, awareness over habit, authentic response over conditioned reaction. These might seem like small choices, but they're actually the building blocks of a completely transformed life experience. The question isn't whether this works. The ancient Egyptians proved that thousands of years ago. The question is, will you take your next breath consciously? Will you honor the wisdom tradition that recognized breath as sacred? Will you trust your own direct experience over the cultural conditioning that treats breathing as merely biological? Will you give yourself the gift of 5 conscious minutes each morning to align with the deepest intelligence available to you? Your next breath could be the beginning of everything changing. Not because breathing creates magic, but because conscious breathing connects you to the magic that's already here. The magic of presence, awareness, authentic choice, and genuine response to life. This moment, right now, as you finish reading these words, is your opportunity to begin. Take one conscious breath, notice the difference it makes in how you feel, and remember, transformation doesn't require perfection. It only requires that you begin one breath at a time.